Well, hello, my little trigonometry children. Are you missing me yet? I hope you all were saying, "Oh yes, we do, we do." You probably weren't. You're probably just sitting there staring, thinking, "Why has she paused?" Okay, so I realized I kind of left y'all high and dry with 3.2 here, but really it wasn't a bad section. And honestly, I'm not going to do a lot of examples because I really think that you probably picked up pretty good on it. Just simply because it's a lot like law of sines, only I think it's a little bit easier. Um, so I trust that you already have the law of cosines uh, written down in your notes. I am not going to do a lot of examples because honestly, uh, I've had a busy day. I've done a lot more than I have the other days, and it's Monday night at 9:48 p.m. and I'm really tired. I just got done doing a 30-minute lesson for Algebra 2, and I kind of got woozy, and I don't really feel like doing this, but I do it for you guys because I love you, and I miss you. So, I'm going to go through, and honestly, I'm going to do the examples from the textbook, and I think one that's just from the homework section of the stuff. But, anywho, make sure you have these written down. Uh, Typically use the standard form when you're trying to find a side if they give you an angle. Remember, all the capital letters represent angles, and all of the lowercase letters represent a side. And then the alternative form is when you're trying to find an angle. Now, I will tell you this, sometimes it's easier to use law of sines, and sometimes it's easier to use law of cosines. You just kind of have to work and figure that out sometimes. Um, but, we're going to go with the flow here. Usually once you find one thing, it gives you room to use law of sines if you want to do that. If not, you could go ahead and use law of cosines again. I mean, really, there's more than one way to get to the answer. So what we're going to start off with is them giving you three sides of a triangle. All right. So we're gonna we're gonna start with the side, side, side. Now, the important thing to remember here is when they give you three sides, start with the angle that's opposite the largest or the longest side. And this is why. A triangle can have at most one obtuse angle. Alright? So if it's going to have one, it's going to have to be the one that's opposite the largest side because, remember, the largest side will go with the largest angle. I don't know if you guys remember that. So the biggest angle of this triangle is going to have to be B because side B is 19. The next biggest would be angle C because side C is 14. And then the smallest angle of the whole triangle is going to be side angle A because side A is only 8 feet. So we're going to start with the biggest one. Remember, you can only have one obtuse angle, so if for some reason you get two obtuse angles and an acute angle in the same triangle, then that's a big clue that you did something wrong somewhere, alright? So we're going to start by trying to find angle B here. Since we are trying to find angle B, if you look at your options here, we're trying to find an angle, so I'm going to go to the alternative forms. And I want to know B, alright? And here's the deal. I don't know why they don't just go ahead and do cosine inverse, alright? But when I write this, I'm going to write it as cosine inverse, okay? That way you do it all at once and you're done, okay? The less steps you take in putting in your calculator, the more accurate answer you get. So we're going to use this formula right here, the cosine B formula, but I'm going to kind of rewrite it a little bit, okay? I'm going to say B equals cosine inverse of, and then you write that right-hand side, okay? And for me, it would be easier for me in the long run if I just wrote it like this every time. And I think it would be easier for you in the long run as well to just go ahead and do it all as one thing. So we know that B is going to equal cosine inverse, and then we're going to plug in for A, B, and C. All right, so A is 8, so I've got 8 squared plus C squared, so we got 14 squared minus B squared, that's 19 squared over 2 times A times C, which is 14. All right, and here's the deal. I don't want you to do the top and do the bottom and divide those and then take that number and take the cosine inverse of that. That's not what I want. I want you to plug this in all at once. So in your calculator, I'm going to pull this up here. Oh, I got some quadratic stuff going on. All right, I'm going to go to my regular screen. First off, we're in degrees, so make sure that when you make sure your mode is in degrees, like mine is not. It's in radians for some reason. So I'm going to change that to degrees. It's really important, otherwise you're going to get all the wrong answers. Okay, so I've changed that to degree. I'm going to go back to my regular screen here. All right, so we want cosine inverse, so I've got second cosine. And then since we have a big fraction, we didn't use this a lot when I had you before because we had calculators that didn't have this. But if you will press alpha, that green button up here, and y equals, that brings up a shortcut menu, okay? And we're going to choose the n over d, okay? If you don't have the shortcut menu, then you should let me update your thing. But I think you can press math. Let me find it here. Go over to frac, all right, and the option is right there. Everybody see that? So if you don't have the shortcut menu in your calculator, let me update it. I have a cord and I can update your calculator. But you'll press math, arrow over here to the fraction, and you can do n over d. Okay, so I don't really need that. But so I have my little boxes. Those are really nice. So on top, I am just going to put what was on top. So 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 19 squared. And then on bottom I've got 2 times 8 times 14. Alright, and then I'm going to close that. Alright, that makes it a lot easier to look at. We call that pretty print or like an equation editor type thing. Alright, I'm going to press enter, and you get 116.80. So B is approximately 116.80 degrees. Okay, I'm going to put a little star here because that's part of our answer, and I don't want to lose it and have to go back and look for it later. Okay. All right. Now, oh gosh. Sorry, I'm like sitting up on the couch and I'm like losing all my books. All right. So, we found B, and then we need to find another angle. Let's say A. It really doesn't matter. You can do A, you can do C, whatever. But since we know B is 116.80, all right, so we know that angle on a side, and we know a side, and we're missing an angle. That's where a law of sines would come in really handy, is if you had an angle and its side, and then you were looking for an angle but had that angle side. So we could use the formula to find an angle. So if you'll recall, if we solve for sine A, don't ask me why I put an A there. Probably because I was talking and, you know, seemed like a good thing to put at the time. Okay, sine A is equal to little a times sine b over b. Remember, this a was under here, so we multiplied by it. And again, if you want to go ahead and solve for a so that later you don't have to worry about it, you can do sine inverse of, and then this stuff right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in. You've got a, which is 8, times sine b. So sine b, which is 116.80, over 19. Okay. So we're going to do the sine inverse of 8 times sine 116.8 over 19. Alright, and I'll do that with my calculator up here just because I'm a nice person like that, you know, and I like for y'all to succeed. And if Garrett's there, he's probably like, stop, Miss Archer, you're going too fast. I'm trying to go really slow. I really am. I'm sorry, Garrett. Alright, so sine inverse of, and then we've got 8 times, and just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to throw up the little thing so we can look at it. Sine 116.8 over 19. Plus, if I do it this way, I know for sure that I'm using parentheses correctly, and all that jazz. So, press enter. That's going to tell me about 22.08. So, 22.08. Now, we only have one side left to find, and that's C, or one angle, I'm sorry. That's C. So, if we want to find C, C is going to equal 180 minus the angles we already have. So 180 minus 116.8 minus 22.08. So that means that C is equal to 41.12 degrees. So we need degrees here. So there's my three answers. I would prefer that you write them all together at the bottom. That's just easier for you to see and for me to see. It's a good practice, alright? And it doesn't hurt to add them up, make sure that they actually equal 180. But if you notice, we actually have two acute angles, and we have one obtuse. You don't have to have an obtuse, but you can only have one of them. So there's our three answers. Now, if you guys have any questions about what we go over right here, make a note in your notes, and when I get back, either Friday or after spring break, we will talk about those. Okay. Alright, so moving on. Let's do another one of those. Choosing one from the back of the book, an even number. Okay. This time they just give us these sides, and we have to draw our own picture. So I'm going to draw my picture. It's probably not accurate, by the way, but it is what it is. Doesn't have to be. Alright, so A is 55. So we're going to say this is A. So if this is A, this would have to be angle A. C is 20, and B is 14. So that would be, this is B, and the side opposite, this is C. Alright, so we're finding A, B, and C. Always start with the one that's the biggest side, so that means we're going to be finding angle A first. So if you look at your alternative forms, alright, we want A. So that would be the cosine of A equals blah, 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 blah. Alright, so I'm going to say A equals cosine inverse of, and then we have to plug in. So we've got B squared plus C squared. So I didn't write these over here, but I'll go ahead and do that just because, you know, I feel like it. Alright, so we've got 14 squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2 times B, which is 14, times C, which is 20. And again, we're just plugging that directly into our calculator. I'll give you a second because I know that Garrett's going to be giving me a bad look, even though I'm not there, if I move too fast. Watch him not be there, and then I'll just be sitting there talking about Garrett the whole time. Nobody's like, oh, he's not even here. Alright, so in our calculator. By the way, I'm going to go up here and choose this one, and then just fill in. Alright, give me a second because I can't remember, like, what I was doing. Oh gosh, I can't even remember my numbers. Alright, 14, 20, 55. So on top, 14, 20, 55. And then 2 times 14 times 20, that's what I thought. 2 times 14 times 20. Alright. Got all our numbers in there. Make sure they're in there correctly. And then we're going to press enter. Oh gosh, I must have did something wrong. 14 squared plus 20 squared minus 55 squared. Well guys, I'm not really sure what I did wrong here. Wouldn't you know this would happen on a video? Let me try it on my calculator real fast. You know, my calculator that I have at home. I don't have these written out, so it's kind of hard when I do something wrong. You guys sit tight for just a second, because then I want to press pause. You know, that's boring. I'll just talk while I do it, you know. I hope you guys are missing me, because I'm like missing y'all a little bit. I mean, it's nice being off, but I kind of feel like I'm just talking to myself on this video. Because I kind of am until you watch it. Um, by the way, how did the homework go the other day? Just wondering. Hope it went really well. Alright. Did I write down my problem wrong? This is number 6. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, it's not number 6. Is it number 6? Oh, I think I know what I did. I think I just made you guys do like a totally wrong problem. 55, 14, and 20. Oh, I did. I did part of number 5 and number 6. So we gotta change this up. You guys are gonna kill me. And I would redo this video, but I don't feel like redoing it. So, we're going to erase. I gave you the wrong B and C. So, you guys are gonna have to shoot me. So we're just gonna have to replace those numbers. Alright, my bad. B is 25, C is 72. No wonder we were getting an error. So 25 and 72. So sorry, guys. You probably feel like killing me right now, but that's okay because I'm not there. You guys can tell me when I get back. Alright. Alright. So 25 and 72 need to go in for the 14 and the 20. So sorry, guys. 25, 72, 25, and 72. Alright. Well, the good thing we didn't get very far before we figured this out. Alright, so let's go back to our calculator and redo this shebang. Alright, 25 and 72. Again, you can just bring this down here and then sometimes it might just be easier to do it. Alright, 25, 72, drop down, 25, 72. Let's hope this comes out this time. Okay, 39. 39.35. Let's go with 39.35. So A is 39.35. Right? We can do the same thing that we did with the law of sines and cosines. So I want to find B just because I feel like finding B. So I know that B is equal to sine inverse of little b times, and since we have both sides of A, alright, we'll do sine A over little a. So we're just going to plug into this. So you get sine inverse of B, which is 25, times sine of A, which is 39.35. By the way, I feel like I'm writing really small on this, so if I am, I apologize, but it's hard when I'm not in the classroom. Alright, and then over side A, which is 55. Alright, so we're going to plug this in. So 25, 39.35, 55. We have to go back and forth. So we're going to do sine inverse of 25 times, I'm going to go ahead and get my pretty print up there. Alright, then I've got sine of 39.35 over 55. Alright, I just want to make sure I got those numbers in properly. We don't need another mishap. I'm going to press enter. I get 16.75. Now to find the other angle, I'm just going to take 180 minus those two. That'll give me C. Alright, so 180 minus 39.5. By the way, I figure you can do these, so I wasn't. And I get 123.90. 123.90. These are all degrees. Alright, so there are your 3 answers. Alright, I hope we're all good with that, because I butchered that completely. Alright, now let's do this one. Now, on this problem, they actually give you 2 sides and their included angle. So if we were to go back and look, alright, we actually have angle A, correct? And we need angle B and angle C. So if I go back, and I also need side A. So if I go back and we look at our law of cosines, all right, we actually want to find side A, and so therefore we want to use this formula. Remember, these find sines. So this is actually, if you solve for A, would be the square root of all of this side. All right. So what I want to do is that exact problem. Okay. So we are just going to plug into this. And again, I'm going to start by remaking this as the square root of, and you guys can too. And if you would like to write all of these in their completely solved form, then go for it. That's probably what I would do. So I'm finding side A. So I know that A is equal to the square root of b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. So A equals square root of, we've got b squared plus c squared minus 2 times 15 times 10 times the cosine of A, which happens to be 115 degrees. All right. Now I'm not going to plug this in my calculator right now because I figure you guys are pretty good at plugging in your calculator by now. All right, when you do that, you're going to get 21.26. So side A is 21.26. Now here's the deal. Again, now we have a side and its angle, so we can use law of sines to find our other angles. So let's find angle B. So I know that B is going to be sine inverse of little b times, and then we're going to use A because we have its angle and its side. So sine A over little a. So B equals sine inverse of side B, which is 15, times sine of A, which is 115, over side A, 21.26. All right. When you plug that into your calculator, you should get 39.75. And remember, this is degrees because it's actually an angle. So then to get angle C, all I have to do is take 180 minus 115 minus 39.75. So I know that C equals 25.25 degrees. So C, angle B, and side A is what we were all looking for. All right, so here's the deal. Pardon me. I think I left you 3 problems for Heron's formula, and I really don't feel like I need to go over that because it is a formula, okay? I feel like that you guys can plug into a formula, which is pretty much all this has been, with the exception of, you know, having to figure out which one to go into. With Heron's formula, it's just one formula. So you've got your area is equal to square root of s times s minus a, s minus b, s minus c. And to get s, you take a, add it to b, add it to c, and divide by 2. All right? So there is a way to get the area of a triangle when you are given 3 sides. Okay? And So all you have to do is first you want to start off by finding S, because they don't give you S. They give you all three sides of the triangle. So first step, you want to find S. Okay? So you just take all three sides, add them up, and then divide that number by 2. That's your S. So that you will plug in for all of the S's, there are 4 of them, and then you want to plug in your side lengths, which by the way are all positive because they are a side of a triangle, and then take the square root of that. Okay? That tells you the area of the triangle. I really don't think you need any more explanation. Just make sure you find S first before using the formula. Alright? The one thing I do hate is that they don't give you any kind of um, like measurement, like feet, meters, centimeters, whatever. Also, I have not looked over 17 through 22. I've kind of looked at it for a second here. It's probably doable for you, but if you're having trouble with 17, 19, and 21, just skip them, and when I come back, we can talk about those in person. Uh, if y'all have a question in the middle of class after this, uh, I should be fine to answer my phone if Brandon wants to put me on speaker or something like that to answer your questions. I should just be laying around tomorrow. Alright, so I hope that you got something out of the lesson today anyways. But if you do have a question about Heron's formula and you would like for me to explain it, or if you have questions on the homework and you would like for me to explain it, just give me a call during class tomorrow, and I think that you should have some time left here. Yeah, because I've just been talking for 32 minutes. Holy cow, 32 minutes. That's a lot. So, if you have a question, you have about 20 minutes left in class, or maybe a little bit less than that, 15. Give me a call, and I'll try to answer your questions to the best of my ability through speaker. Okay? So, also, I'm pretty sure, yeah, at least one person in that room has my number. So, you guys can call me if you need to. But this was a pretty easy lesson, I think. I could be wrong. But I believe I already told you guys you're responsible for 1 through 27 odd. And again, if you're not doing good with 17, 19, 21, we can talk about that when I get back. So if you have questions on the other parts of the homework or Heron's formula, give me a call tomorrow, and I will try to help you out there during class, because I'm lonely here anyways, and I don't really have anything to do. Also, uh, please think about the shirt idea that I had Brandon show y'all yesterday. I think it's the one, and if so, we will order shirts next week. So, miss you guys, and I'll probably have another video for you on Thursday. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Be good. And remember, shift happens, okay, in graphs. It does. It really does.